Morning, everybody. I'll kind of jump through this. I know we're kind of short on time, but I want to touch some subjects that we've had some issues with recently. And one of the main subjects that we had is under the election process. We've actually had where elections are supposed to be held in January or February of each year, unless you have extensions to your terms. We've actually had some elections that went all the way into July of this year. So we're trying to get where the locals are holding the elections according to the Constitution bylaws during those months and shorten the process and problems that have arisen out of them, because when you have protests and et cetera, then that continues to drag on as well. The next one is terms of offices. Under Article 25, Section 3, the term of office is 1 year for your executive officers, unless you've had elections or nominations at the local level to where they've had members approve the extension of those terms of offices. What we've been having is we would get locals protest that the nominations were invalid because they didn't have anything on file previously from any members or documents to show that they had extended those offices. And so then we get into an election process where it's being challenged. So when you have those votes at the local level and they're approved by the membership, we're requesting that you send all those up to us, establishing the minutes and who was there, and then that way we can keep them on file so that if there is any challenges come up in the future, we have the documents to help support those elections. Also, the other issue that we have is the individuals that are being placed on the ballots when they're nominated should be checked by the local level to establish whether they meet the criteria under the Constitution bylaws, that they're dues-paying members, have been a dues-paying member, for officers' position for at least 1 year, 6 months if it's a steward in them. And what we've had happen recently is that we've had forms show up of showing that officers have been elected, and we're finding out that they haven't either met the criteria or they're not even dues-paying members. So we're requesting that the locals check those at the local level to ensure that the individuals that are being nominated actually meet the criteria, and if they don't, then they wouldn't be on the ballot. Again, the majority of the members present at a meeting voting must approve the extensions. These are the documents that we're requesting to have. That way, when we have them on file and somebody challenges, and we've had that recently to where they said, well, the previous board did it. Previous board couldn't produce any documents, and we had none on file, so then they had to resort back to the 1 year term, which causes a lot of issues. Then when the same thing applies with the stewards, we've had the same issues come up to where they haven't met the criteria 6 months in length, and or they're not even dues-paying members. So if you check those as well to make sure that that's happening, it would greatly assist us at the international and even at the local level so you don't have issues. Next item would be dues. And somebody touched on that yesterday about all the contractor changeovers. We're having a lot of those. And the issues that we're having is that not all locals are sending copies of the dues cards up to us, or even the original dues cards. So then when the company changeover happens, we don't have cards on file, and the local hasn't retained copies, and we don't have those to be able to send to the company to continue to start taking dues out, and that causes us issues because then local has to go back out to the membership, get all new cards signed to send up to the international. So if you can, if you're processing them at the local level, if you could make copies and send them to us, we'd greatly appreciate that. Also, The issue, just like that, we've had a lot of locals that have taken the initiative. I think that kind of got lost of being the boots on the ground and getting out and getting members signed up. That clearly is a benefit to the local because then you're getting people signed up, getting dues, and it also assists us in the ability of not having to go out and send all those requests out as well. So the membership, locals should kind of help pick that up if they would. Be greatly appreciated, and that way we could move forward and get more people signed up. Local finances. Again, there was some discussion and touched on that yesterday, would be that locals should be looking at preparing to attend, save their money so that for preparations for negotiations, the conventions, the summits, and to be able to pay for grievance and arbitrations, and that's for just for the arbitration cost of the award on the merit on the arbitration. So that is if the arbitrator awards, and most contracts have language in them that it's split. So if you have a split decision, the local has to pay that cost, that split. So most arbitrations are getting pretty expensive. If you've had any recently, arbitrators are charging up to anywhere around $2,000 a day for an arbitration hearing. And then they usually have to have 2 additional days at least beyond the arbitration day, and that's 1 day for them to review and then 1 day for them to render their decision. So you're looking at anywhere around $6,000 just for an arbitration decision. Again, we've had some issues where local president and financial secretary should be the only individuals on the bank account. We've had some bank accounts where they've had stewards and other individuals on there, and we would like to make sure that they adhere to that and just keep the financial secretary and the local president on there. Lost time, there's kind of an issue with lost time, and the definition in the reference to the lost time would have been when a union officer or steward, committee member, or members who are authorized to take time off from their regular job to perform work for the union. Such member often receives payment from the union as reimbursement for wages lost while conducting business for the union. These payments are referred to as lost time. What we've had as individuals have actually not taken time off, trying to get some pay for that, or they've been on their days off. And so we want to make sure that we're filling out the lost times appropriately and making sure that they're correct and provide all the appropriate information with them to make sure that you get paid correctly in reference to those. And with that, I will turn it over to Carrie.